what we have here is a much more recent image. In fact, this is one of the very latest images from the high-rise camera on the Mars Reconnaissance Orbiter. This is a great image, actually. Now, the official name for this is Seasonal Monitoring of Site with Odd Topography. Okay. Now, I've added vegetation and a question mark in front of that. This is the official title of it, but I've added vegetation. Okay. There isn't much info on this, and this is the actual page it came from. And this was literally only put up a few days ago. So this is one of the latest, and there's nothing about it here. All it says is that title there, Seasonal Monitoring with Odd Topography and everything. But that's it. You don't get anything. You get the scale, you get the usual information here, but you do get a little map that you can zoom into here. This is right in this crater here. Now, I don't know what crater this is. There's no name. If this was an actual well-known crater, then it would have been in the title, I'd imagine. They would have put that in the information, but they haven't. So you can zoom in and find out. This will actually give you coordinates here. So you could probably line this up with Google Earth and go to Mars, Google Mars, and then line this up by copying these coordinates here. But what we have here is a lot of ice and strange stuff on the ground. Now, when I say strange stuff, I mean vegetation, okay? Now, this image is merged infrared and blue, okay? Now, most of the image is black and white, but this central section here is the color data that's been added on top of the black and white image, okay? So a lot of the image is just in black and white, but the central strip here is color. And we have these big areas of green sort of blobs here. Now, this is a sort of crater or hole in the ground here, it seems, or a shallow kind of depression, but with a deeper part here, which is very, very dark. Now, I've already brightened this image up because it's very dark and you don't see this. You do see the green in the original, and you can see it slightly better in this one because I've brightened it up a bit. It says it's 70% brightness, 20% contrast. Now, that sounds a lot, but it's not that much. Now, what I've also got here is a much, much brighter crop of that image. Now, this is probably what it would look like if you were a bit closer and not so far up as the MRO camera is, okay? I've really brightened it up, and you can see these colours here. This is the colour strip in the middle, black and white either side. And look at these big, huge areas of greenery. These big blobs, which are approximately 50 to 100 metres each. That one's 50. That one's more than 50. Yeah, some of these are like whole strips of it here. And then, when you look in this dark area here, it goes right into here. And there's all these smaller blobs, or patches of greenery, that go in to this really dark, gloomy area here, which seems to be like some kind of cavern or hole in the ground or something. If you look at the topography, we've got the edges of this kind of depression coming round in a sort of semicircle here. You can see it's really, really dark here, and that seems to be going into the ground. So what we may have here is a thermal vent, okay? Which means there may be molten liquid water in here. A lot of this seems to be ice, and a lot of this black stuff isn't really black because this is a black and white image. And in the colour part of the image, you can see that it's actually green, dark green, a lot of it. Some of it's kind of an olivey kind of green, some of it's very dark green like we got here, okay? There's a blob here, there's smudges all over here. So that all goes right into this dark area. So in reality, if all this was in actual colour, all this stuff would be green, or most of it would be green and not black, because we have colour data. Now, you also have to read between the lines when it comes to NASA images, and they said here, seasonal monitoring. Now, what that means is that they often take images of the same area at different times of the year as the MRO spins round the surface of Mars, okay? So it would come back year on year at different times of year and go over the same areas over and over again taking multiple images of the same areas to see the difference at different times of the year. And I'm guessing that this is probably or possibly in the spring or summer, as the permafrost and ice on the ground is melting, and what we're getting is seasonal vegetation. I've shown it before. When it comes to images like this, most of the time when there's something really interesting, NASA do not give you an explanation. If it's something really mundane, it's just some cracks in the ground, or say a volcano, which isn't mundane, but you know, if it's something more mundane, they would give you a long explanation about the process, sedimentary rock and the different kind of tectonic movements on the ground, that kind of thing. They would give you some geological information. There's nothing with this, apart from the fact it says it's seasonal monitoring. That says to me that this is vegetation, and they're coming back here time and time again to see if this colour, this green, moss or plant life, whatever it is, it looks like plant material on the ground. They will come back again and again to see if this colour has changed at different times of the year. Now, I've also shown similar stuff to this before on my website here. Now, check my website out. It's called ArtAlienTV. There will be a link in the description. This is the Mars Plants and Water page. You can also check out the other pages, like the UFO page that I showed you earlier, okay? And then we have this area. Now, this is similar to the area we're looking at today. We have these patches. Now, of course, a lot of these images are taken in black and white, so we don't know what we're looking at. And I'm sure that's why a lot of them are black and white, so that we don't get to see all this greenery. And this does appear, and in this video, it does show this at different times of the year, and this stuff increases in the summer, the spring and summer, and dies off in the autumn, and almost disappears in the winter. Okay, these patches of greenery, which I think is a type of moss. Now, if you look really closely on this image, right, let's go back to this. Now, if you look really closely at some of this larger one here and this one, and you can see actual veins or possible runners coming out from this material here, this green foliage, going into the ice. And you can see through the ice and see these under the ice. There's more here. Okay? You've got runners coming out, roots. So what this material may be doing, this plant material, which is what it looks like, this moss or whatever type of growth it is, it's sending runners down below the permafrost to get molten water, perhaps, from below the permafrost. We can actually see through the ice on the ground here. We can see these roots. And if this is a thermal vent, which it may be, just here, then this may be melting the permafrost enough for this plant material to send runners down in through the ice 6, 10, 12 feet below the ground, whatever depth that is, to drink and extract liquid water. Come and check out the links below. Check out this close-up of this vegetation. Let me know what you think about it. Check out these kind of roots going below the ice here. You can see through it. All right. This seems to go right into the ground and maybe an example of a thermal vent and plant growth on the ground taking advantage of the warmth coming from it, okay? So thanks for watching, everybody. Please like and subscribe if you haven't already. Smash the like button. Thanks for watching. I will see you soon.